The following podcast contains adult language and themes, so don't say we didn't fucking warn you.
You're listening to SarahTalk. It's political.
Whatever the condition is in their home country is so bad that they're willing to go through that long, arduous trek to get here where we've promised them this American dream idea. The least we could fucking do is when they knock on our door or help them.
Critical.
They care about the life of the unborn child, but once it's born, you know, it should pull up little bootstraps and go get a second job and fucking take care of itself, you know?
And positively LGBT positive.
In many states, you can still be evicted from housing simply for being gay or transgender. Stand and fight with us.
Oh, and occasionally completely absurd.
Oh, they're shutting us down. They're deplatforming us. I do a pretty good Alex Jones voice. They're turning the frogs gay.
Okay, you're sleeping in the child's room tonight because there's no way you're sleeping next to me. That is disgusting. I'm going to have nightmares.
And now, from
South Park, Colorado,
your host, Sarah Austin.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to SarahTalk. It is October 23rd. The wind is blowing here like fucking crazy. Our Halloween decorations are just flying like kites out on the porch.
I mean, you could put little witches' feet out underneath the house and somebody might believe that it got relocated in a twister. It's going.
It seems like more of a Kansas thing.
Yeah, I know, but we're next to Kansas.
Close enough.
Gosh, that's going to distract me.
Well, I left the window open, the blind open, so that we could watch and see if they pop off. We can go chase after them.
Yeah. Well, I glued rocks to the bottom of them, so they shouldn't blow once they hit the ground, they should be okay. Anyway.
So what's going on?
What's not going on? We are in the throes of preparing for the devil's holiday. Having fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
We've been spending a lot of time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we've been spending a lot of money at Michael's. Because we have.
Yeah, we've done that too. Well, and I'm mad. I just got an email from them. Your $30 rewards voucher is waiting, and
that's
it
great
expires.
Because we need.
It expires in a week.
Oh, we'll be back in a week.
But it's been sitting there, and I didn't realize it was sitting there because it doesn't pop up in the coupons. You have to actually go into a different thing.
Okay.
Anyway, but I'm mad because we were just there. We spent $150.
Mm-hmm.
And I had $30 in rewards that I could have put towards that purchase.
But it's okay because we didn't get enough of the garland that we needed.
Yeah,
so we have to go back for more of that.
The garland and the bow that we need are not going to equal $30. They're going to be less than $30.
I'll find more. Don't you worry.
We do need to go through, before we go to Michael's, we need to go through all of my paints and purge the bad ones so that I know what colors I actually have.
Right. Start over.
And just start over because I'm sure there's a lot in there that is just trash.
Yeah.
I mean, our son found Starburst that made it with us in some container.
Oh, God.
From Florida. And
I missed that whole.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, it wasn't our son. It was our daughter. So we were cleaning her room and she found a big, huge pile of Starburst that were in one of her little containers. Remember?
Yeah.
And
I thought that was from the apartment, though.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in any case,
no, that was definitely from the apartment.
She didn't want them, so I gave them to her brother, and he was all excited. And then he bit one, and he said, "Oh, it's crunchy
hard as a rock.
and flaky." And threw them away. So, I'm sure the paint has been exposed to all the same elements that those Starbursts were.
I am happy to go to Michael's anytime you want. Patreon.com/SarahTalk, though, because I'm still unemployed.
We'll pick you up an application at Michael's for a job there. No?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. What's their health insurance like?
Yeah, no shit.
Oh my God.
And do I get health insurance if I just work part-time?
Yeah. And maybe that's what you need to do. You need to find a little part-time gig that gives really good health insurance for families.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, Halloween, Michael's.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the devil's work.
We'll talk about some of the decorations that you're making.
Okay, so
because these are really cool.
we, I saw this thing on Pinterest because whenever it's Halloween or Christmas, I spend a lot of time on Pinterest looking for things to do. And I've been wanting to do a lot of these projects for years, and I just haven't had time because Sarah worked at night and I didn't have another adult in the house to bounce anything off of. So that just was a struggle bus. So now that she's home,
I'm her enabler.
things are getting done. So instead of, I can't sit down and do this project because it's going to take forever and I got to do all this things with all the things. And so now there's actually spare time. So it's been nice. So I made this really cool, shrine candle thing with pool noodles that I didn't even have to buy because we used pool noodles for certain
moving
padding and stuff.
Yeah.
And I kept them because I was like, I can use those for projects. They're great. Pool noodles are I don't even know, you can use them for so many different things. So I made pillar candles and put them on a charging plate that I got for $1. Cut little holes in the top, widened the hole to drop tea lights in, and then spray painted the whole thing black. And then glued a skull,
spiders and
and all this stuff. So it's this really spooky looking candle shrine, whatever, with a skull in it. It's really awesome. With the spiders are on the skull and climbing up the side of the candles. And then the tea lights are just little dollar store battery operated tea lights. So I painted the flame with glow in the dark orange paint. So even if the battery dies, it looks like it's glowing. So really cool. So that was the first thing I did. And then went to a thrift store, and we have this awesome thrift store out here that I've never heard of.
It's a chain of thrift stores.
It's a chain of thrift stores. It's like Goodwill's biggest competitor out here, I think. And they have discount days where different stickers are different colors. But I went there looking for books to do witches books for spells and potions and stuff. And I found these hardcover books on the last chance shelf. They're the perfect size, perfect width. Everything is perfect about them. And I paid $1 each for them, or 99 cents or some nonsense, because they were just sitting there forever and they weren't selling. So they were last chance, we're going to throw them away. So I got 4 books. And so this project only cost really $4 because everything else I already had in my craft corner. So we used hot glue, and I did textured writing on the books. So I have potions, brews, spells, and then I did one with a pentagram. Oh, I guess it costs a little more than $4 because I bought the little silicone creatures.
Yeah.
So I bought some spiders and snakes and some bats to glue to the outside of the book. And then you did the hot glue lettering, and then you spray paint them black. And then I'll go back and paint the textured parts with metallic. They look so cool already, just with the black on them. So I'm really, really stoked about that project because it was so easy.
We did a graveyard of...
I forgot about that. That was 2 days ago.
We did a retro video game graveyard.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
And these are ideas that you stole from Pinterest or whatever.
It's just so we had some extra plywood sheets from a garage overhang storage project.
Yeah.
So, and Sarah got herself an early Christmas gift. She bought herself a new jigsaw.
Yeah.
Because the one she has is from 1942.
Mm-hmm.
And it was either buy a new one or try to find a blade for the
old one.
For the old one that I don't know that they even make that blade anymore, to be honest. So she wanted to try out that jigsaw. So I was like, here, cut this wood into tombstones.
And they look really cool.
They look really cool.
We have one that is Minecraft that has a pickaxe on top. And I made the outline of it and then hashed off the pixels and painted them pixel by pixel.
It looks so cool.
And then it says, "You died. Red Pizza Boy fell out of the world." Red Pizza Boy is our son's gamer tag.
Yeah.
And then there's the respawn button.
Yeah.
The respawn or title screen button.
That one came out. I think that one came out the best. I don't know.
I like the Mario one
the
really
Mario
good
one
too.
looks really good too. I think they all look good in their own right.
So the Mario one has the, like, when Mario turns to face the camera
In the original,
with his hands up and he falls off the screen.
where he's like scrunched up and his hands are up and he's just this little tiny thing.
And then with the newer Mario font, we let the kid choose, and he wanted the newer Mario font to say game over.
Looks really cool. And then I did Pac-Man, and so I did the little Pac-Man on the top about to eat a thing of cherries. And then the monsters, the 4 monsters.
They're ghosts.
The 4 ghosts, whatever. They're monsters. Ghosts are monsters?
Oh my God.
Shut up. So the 4 ghosts in the 4 traditional Pac-Man ghost colors. And then it says game over. And then it has the high score. And then it has the highest score that has that you can get playing the game. And the numbers on the bottom. So it was really cool. Got to use out my new early Christmas present. Sarah got me a Cricut Maker 3.
It's amazing.
It's so amazing. So we did all the painting of the characters and stuff, but the lettering we used the Cricut for, and it was awesome. And then Mod Podge over it. I said it right that time. Talk about that.
How we've been calling it Mod Podge or
I don't even
something else.
Well, I think I always called it Mod Podge because of the hodgepodge.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it's just one of those. Where's mine?
This thing gets jammed.
Why don't? Is there gum? Is there candy in here?
Mm-mm.
The fuck, lady? That's not fair. You go get me candy.
You need to keep some in here.
Well, I had some in here. I don't know what happened to it.
I'm going to need a refill.
I thought you weren't going to do that anymore.
Only when we're recording a podcast.
Go get me fucking something. If you're going
Okay, fine. Oh my God.
The little, the sockets. There's a bag on my side of the bed.
Okay, so the problem with this now is that we're going to have to listen to your mouth noises while you suck on weed candies.
Can you hear that?
No.
Okay, then what's your problem?
It's when you talk. You do like the old lady candy thing when you know, like the old man with the Werther's original clicking around your teeth. No, everybody does.
Can you hear it?
Not yet, but I'll point it out when I do. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Mod Podge versus hodgepodge versus
anyway,
Mod Podge.
I think we're done with the Halloween decorating for this year.
Yeah, I think we're at a good place where we have enough. We can just add on to it now now I have different ideas because I wanted to do cardboard cutout monsters on the upper windows. Mm-hmm. But I think I'm going to do zombie boards next year.
Like the windows have been boarded shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Christmas is coming though. Mm-hmm. And I have already started making wreaths for Christmas. Can't wait for Christmas.
So that's what we got at Michael's was Christmas stuff. We went because we needed to get acrylic sealer for the tombstones. Right. That was the whole ruse to get me to go back to Michael's. We needed to get acrylic sealer and there was one other thing we were going to get.
I heard it. Anyway, we were going to get acrylic sealer. It was all Halloween.
Oh, no,
to finish
you wanted
up the Halloween
So
stuff.
Sarah got me a bonsai plant.
Oh, yeah.
And we're looking for blue rocks for this bonsai plant.
I look for that everywhere we go.
So that was another thing we were looking at. But then it was like, oh, Christmas is set. Well, okay, so let's backtrack. See, now we're going to go into rabbit hole side-eyed. Becca's going to tell 7 different stories at once mode.
Great.
So the other day, I was at our daughter's school doing a pre-walk because I'm helping them with their trick-or-treat event. I'm helping the PTO decorate doors. So we were just wrapping that up, and I get a phone call from our son's school. And it's the campus supervisor. Mm-hmm. And my heart sank because of the way they make these phone calls, first of all. Like, people, if you're working at a school and you're calling a parent about something that happens with their kid, the first thing you need to say to that parent when you get them on the phone is, your child is okay.
Right.
Because what I got was, I'm just calling to let you know. And this lady is not really good on the phone as it is. So she was like stuttering all over her words. And you could tell she was like nervous about having to have this conversation. I don't think I really went into detail with this with you, but
Save it for the show, I always say.
She's like, so there's been an incident with your kid. And so I'm just like, oh crap, what's going on? And I think the only reason I was really calm was because Sarah, I was at the school with our daughter and Sarah left me there. We only have one vehicle right now. And she was going to the other school for pickup at 4:30. At the middle school.
So if I had needed to go in and take care of something, I could. I was going to be there.
Like she was already there at this point. It was like,
yeah, you texted me about the call while I was sitting in the parking lot.
And so like I knew she was there. So I knew that if anything was crazy was going on at the school, that I probably would have heard if it was like some massive craziness. But I also knew she was there if he needed somebody there right away. So I think that's the only reason I didn't really panic. But it's still like you hear those words and you go, we're at a middle school. I know he's been having issues. I know people have been really like hard on him.
Right. Other kids have been dicks.
Yeah. And so like you just have that worry, right?
Yep.
So then she proceeds to tell me that our kid and some other kids in the class were having a discussion. And she says, I don't even like using this word because it's an adult term. And I'm like, okay. She says they were talking about furries.
Now that's not an adult term.
I just like, are you kidding me right now? And so, okay, fine. They're talking about furries. Is that why he's in trouble? Like that's where I was going. I was like, okay.
Right. What's going on?
Really?
Here?
Like, because if that's why he's in trouble and that's why you're calling me, this could have been an email. So she goes on to say that another kid walked by and says something to our kid. And our kid thought that this other kid called him a bigot.
Right.
And so our kid says, shut up, you bitch. And so our kid got detention for using profanity.
Mm-hmm.
The other kid swears up and down that he did not call our kid a bigot. He called him a furry. But you do the math. Do bigot and furry sound alike at all? Because
right. Would you have mistaken?
I don't think I would have. And I'm here to tell you, I know that our kid wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And if he thought for 1 minute that somebody was calling him a name that would indicate that he was not in support of the anybody, any group, that he would defend himself. And when he says that's what he was doing, I believe that's the case. But nonetheless, he got profanity for using the word bitch at school.
Yeah, he got detention.
Oh, what is wrong with me?
Are you high yet?
No, he got detention for using profanity, which really sucked. And then like the only good part about it was like they let me pick when.
Right.
But
a morning or after school.
Yeah. And that day was already off the table because she's like, I know it's so close. You're probably already here. I'm like, yeah, my wife's in the parking lot.
Yeah.
So he did it the next day after school.
And the problem with that though is, so when I got detention, when we were kids and I would get detention, we would have to sit almost like study hall style, quietly in a room with one of the mean teachers and do work, do schoolwork. Yeah. Finish your homework, whatever. You couldn't talk to each other. You couldn't get up and go, whatever. You had to like sit, do schoolwork. That's your punishment, is an extra hour of that.
So he gets in the car the next day and he's like, I actually kind of like detention. He had to do lost and found. And he gets in the car. He goes, have I got a story for you? He's like, I don't know what okay, so backstory here. Our kid is like so, prude. What's the word for it?
Uptight. Stick up his ass.
Yeah. Like he's like, anytime we joke about sex, he calls us weird and gross. Anytime we were like, do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a girlfriend? Are you like, he just gets so adamantly opposed to even the idea or the discussion of it. I can't wait to watch Sarah teach him how to use condoms.
It's coming.
So he's like,
that was a penis joke.
I think it's going to be really hard with his attitude.
I think so.
Also a penis joke.
Got it.
Okay, good. So he's like, there were pants in Lost and Found.
Like, how do you lose
like
your
6
pants?
pairs, however many pairs of pants? Who's losing their pants? And then he says, and there was a bra? I'm
Well,
like,
there were
what
like
the
3
hell?
bras.
Oh,
he
there were
said.
3?
Yeah.
He's like talking about like, and I said to him, oh, well, the person that lost their pants is probably with the person that lost their bra. He didn't like that joke either.
No.
So that's our kid. Right. Anyway, so this goes back to the story we were talking about Michael's and Christmas. But we had to go to Michael's and we decided to go look at Christmas because I was all bent out of shape because I couldn't look at Michael's Christmas display the day they set it because I had to pick up a kid from detention. That's how they connect.
Got it. Okay, carry on.
Anyway, that's all.
Yeah, so his detention was more like community service.
Yeah.
And so he was all for that.
For it. Yeah. I was like, okay, don't make a habit of it. Crazy. If you want to, well, he said they do have a community group you can join to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you
Go
want
for
to,
it,
go
bro.
for it. Yeah.
I'd rather you do that than play some stupid sport.
Yeah, no kidding. I did like kind of say to the lady on the phone when she called me and she was like, furry, blah, 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 blah. I said, well,
I wish I'd been on that call.
I wish I hadn't been so blindsided because we were like, literally, I was in the middle of something at the other school and there was just so much going on and I only answered it because I knew it was his school.
Right.
And that's not what I expected. And I was just like, oh, God. You know how all the best comebacks come way after the fact? That's exactly what happened. But I did have the presence of mind to say to her, the only thing that I got out that I was kind of proud about was, well, he does have a friend his age that is a furry.
Right.
And it's not, they're just kids. Like it's just that's a whole thing. So he probably felt some kind of way if he thought he was being called a bigot when he's not.
Right.
Like he is the farthest from a bigot that any, I just.
Mm-hmm.
And she, I don't know. We've met her.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked, she knows he comes from a 2-mom household.
Right.
So I don't know.
But just the idea that furries is an adult topic.
Yeah.
I so wish, and I'm not the type of person to do this, so I wouldn't have actually done it, but I wish I was the type of person and that I had gotten a call. Because what I wanted to say to this woman was, tell me what you think a furry is.
You know what I wanted to do? And if I had the money, I would have showed up in a furry costume to pick him up from detention.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just saying. How do you combat that? And to be in a situation where you're working with kids in middle school and be so ignorant.
Right. It's middle school.
Because that's what I wanted to say to her. I was like, how many furries do you think walk the halls at your school?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you that they are there, disguised as children.
Right.
If anybody knows about leading double lives and pretending to be something you're not, I'm here to tell you, you have no idea what kind of identities these kids have outside of school.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And it's a very progressive area.
Yes.
In the schools in Florida, it would be very hard to pick out the kids who maybe are sheltered and not, just by looking at them. Because they all have to have the same dress code. They're all wearing uniforms. They're not allowed to have hair color. This school, you walk down the halls, I can tell you in one walk down the hall, you'll see at least 37 out of the 150 kids that have some kind of funky color hair going on.
Yeah.
And are wearing spiky collars or cargo boots or whatever, because these kids are allowed to express themselves here.
Yes.
So just because they're not wearing, tails or that you're not seeing them or whatever, it doesn't mean they're not there.
Oh, that cute little girl has a hairband with little kitty cat ears.
How much
Guess
you
what
want to
that
bet?
is? Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel some kind of way about it because my thing is people need to be educated. And so, what's the best way to educate this person without coming off as a jerk?
Right.
But our kids said to me,
when I would have said, tell me what you think a furry is.
Yeah. Right. But our kid said to me, like, I mean, he's got it. He's really good at advocating for himself. And I guess something else happened.
That gets him in trouble too.
Yeah, that does too. It does. But I guess something else happened where somebody, I forget what it was, but he got accused of using the N-word. And he was telling me about this. And I was like, well, what happened? He's like, well, I went and I talked to the teacher. And I said, you can call my parents. We are atheist humanists. And we don't stand for that kind of behavior and that kind of talk. He said, I might swear a lot and I might use bad language, but I don't call people names like that. That's not okay in my house.
Yeah.
Like, so he knew how to handle it. He knew what to say, but it's like, he shouldn't have to.
Right.
We just shouldn't be using that language. But to me, what stands out about all of this is he's been having these problems all along because he's the kid that sticks out and doesn't just go with the flow. And he's quirky and he's so smart and he's too smart for his own good is the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and so the kids pick up on that and they are relentless.
Kids are dicks.
And so, you know, it's the same. He said somebody said something to him about why do you always wear the same clothes every day?
I hadn't heard this story.
Yeah, this happened on Friday. And I was like, oh, watch out for that one. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, they either genuinely think you're wearing the same clothes every day because your clothes all look the same.
Right.
Or they have a problem with your clothes or they have a problem with you.
Right.
The same exact thing happened to me in 6th grade. This girl said to me, why do you wear the same clothes every day? And I didn't wear the same clothes every day. I had a bunch of cute brand new plaid dresses that I was wearing. They all happened to be plaid. They were different colors of plaid, so they're very obviously not the same. But she was jealous because I had brand new clothes and she didn't. And so the next thing I know, in science lab, there's a pencil sticking in my back. So I told him, I said, don't argue with things like that. Just go, whatever. My clothes look the same or whatever, and just ignore it.
Whatever.
But be mindful that kids are at this age are just raging with all kinds of hormones and they don't know up from down half the time. And so anybody that is perceivably a threat to their whatever, because I don't even know what the thought process is there.
Right.
It's like any little thing can make a kid jealous. You know, he's wearing noise canceling headphones in the cafeteria. That could be a thing.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Like I worry because he's got his friends, he's got his little circle who will take up for him. But they're not going to be there forever.
Right. And he's still the new kid and dealing with all of that stuff. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just weird. It sucks to be a middle schooler and it sucks to have a middle schooler.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons that don't even involve the body odor. Go on.
Although it is really bad. Like we have bought all kinds. If you sell an item and it's made for odor reduction, we've bought it. And then none of it works. I
don't know. Maybe we need to buy a bunch of odor eaters, foot pads, and I can sew them together.
Make a shirt.
Make a...
I don't know that those work all that well either, though.
I don't know that any of it actually works, to be honest.
Right. You just have to hold your nose for the next few years.
So, yeah.
The other child, meanwhile...
this poor girl.
...is dealing with, like, anxiety. Like...
At 7. That... There's no reason for it.
It was bad enough that I started doing TikTok videos.
Yeah, that's real. Like when I saw that, I was like, fuck. So I don't know how many of you know this, but Sarah is very anti-homework.
Oh, yes.
And Sarah is also very anti-school fundraiser.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when our 7-year-old, who is like the center of her universe, is hyperventilating and crying and sad and can't even go to sleep because she's so worried about fundraisers and homework, that's the end of the world.
So here's the story. Typically, Becca will go pick the kids up from school. The little one gets off an hour earlier than the older one, so she'll pick our daughter up, bring her home, drop her off. We do homework together. That's what we do. And the other day she had a like complete meltdown, and she has meltdowns like this for lots of things. Like she'll circle the thing red instead of blue, and she'll melt the fuck down and run to her room and can't like,
I quit.
yeah. So any little thing will set this off, and that's a problem. And I have issues with too and don't know how to fix. But this particular one, we weren't having a conversation about this thing.
Out of the blue.
Yeah, out of left field. Like we were doing homework, and she has this meltdown and says, the class that raises the most money, and it's one of these sell crap to your friends and family that they don't want to buy anyway. And this is like the second of those. We did one that was like food stuff.
It's the holiday fundraisers, wrapping paper and chocolate candies. And
yeah, it's a junk catalog.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's the second one of these, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, that one came home first. And that one like wraps up, I think in the next couple of weeks, like that those are due because they want everything sent out before Christmas. So it wraps towards the end of October. And then the second one is the school store where you sign up a bunch of your friends you can with emails.
Mm-hmm.
And then their system emails your email accounts that you put in the list constantly until you either donate or hit unsubscribe.
Right.
Which is annoying in itself. And if I had known it was going to do that,
I wouldn't have done that.
I wouldn't have participated. But the only reason we even did it was because she had a little friend who did it and got a prize like immediately.
Right. All you had to do was punch in 6 email addresses, and then they would move up to the first level to win whatever prize was at the first level.
That one is kind of weird. And it's like, okay, so the signing up it gets the kid a prize.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really do anything for the school or the classroom.
Right.
And then there's other things. If you go in and look at the website, you can go in and buy like a magazine subscription or something. And that goes towards the school.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can donate money and the teacher gets a gift card for the classroom. So if you don't know what you're doing, you think you're buying something to donate to school, and that's not what happens. Because like it's dumb. It's really dumb. And then they harass anybody whose emails you put on this list until they either unsubscribe or donate. So those are the two fundraisers.
So she's having a meltdown because the class that sells the most crap, makes the most money, is going to have a popcorn party on that Friday or whatever. And she was worried about losing and not getting a popcorn party. That is the biggest horse shit. If all of these kids are participating, many of them, I suppose, every classroom has kids participating.
Right.
Give everybody a fucking popcorn party. Thanks for helping raise money for our school.
Right.
Better don't do stupid fundraisers. Tax us.
Or they're doing this Halloween thing. Charge an admission.
Right. Right.
Charge $5 a head at the door, whatever it is, and that goes towards the school. Because I would rather you charge me to come and do an event with the family,
right,
than put my kid through the stress. There's one at the middle school going on too. $60 you had to pay to buy in to sell these stupid chocolate bars to get your money back.
That nobody wants.
And nobody wants. It's like, if you want me to donate $60 to the school,
I'll give you $60.
Ask for $60.
Yes.
But don't tell my kid, oh, you need to do this fundraiser. We're going to raise money for school. You have the minimum amount you can buy. You have to at least buy one box at $60.
Right.
And then to get your money back, you sell the chocolate bars. But then, okay, but also you can't go door to door.
Right. And
you can't.
That's a new thing.
Yeah.
To us anyway.
Well, I was having a discussion with somebody the other day about this. Like, is it because there's been so many issues with middle schoolers vandalizing property on the school that they're afraid that if they give them permission to go door to door, it might put these kids in a position where they're tempted to cause property damage to somebody's house that didn't want to buy their chocolate bar.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the day and age we live in. You'd never think to do that 20 years ago.
No.
But these kids now, I mean, they sent emails of the pictures of the broken urinal in the main bathroom at the middle school. And I'm like, how did an 11-year-old do that?
Yeah, right.
What the heck?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the fundraisers are ridiculous.
No, ask me for money, tax me.
Yeah.
I'll do the book fair because there is like an educational reward from that. It's not a fucking plushie.
Yeah.
It's a book. And like
Sarah's anti-plushie too.
No, not really.
Anyway.
Only recently come around on that issue.
Yeah. You used to be real hardcore anti-plushie.
Should we have that conversation?
We could, but we're not done with the fundraiser yet.
Oh, that's right. God, you write it down. Make a note.
So she's having this anxiety attack, basically.
Right, while we're doing homework.
And so guess what happens?
She didn't finish her homework.
Right. Because
she went upstairs and I always, take a minute.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's okay to feel.
Yeah.
Go feel that for a minute, but then come back because we're going to,
try
get
to
back on it. Yeah.
It's funny because I feel some type of way about homework too. My dad was always very anti-homework. He's like, these kids spend 8 hours a day in school.
Fucking right.
These teachers need to do their job while they're there. Why do I have to do their job?
Well, and how much of it is the curriculum?
The curriculum is too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It requires, if you're going to learn it, and some of it, okay, like math, right? You're doing repetition to remember.
Yeah.
So it's do as much as you can.
Yeah. I understand the importance of practice.
And my problem with homework at the baseline is we spend these kids' entire lives teaching them to take their work home with them. Then they get to the workforce and are told, hey, you're not being paid for that. Don't take your work home with you.
But it's already
if you work for a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we've already created that.
And the perfect attendance thing.
Yep.
And all of it.
All of it.
It's ridiculous.
Well, if you don't think that school was primarily designed to create the workforce,
of course,
then you're missing out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the homework. So she ran upstairs, didn't get her homework done, and we didn't come back to it.
Because the afternoon
there was
busy.
Stuff to do. Yep.
I had a kid to pick up from detention.
And a furry costume to buy before that. And so that night, we're laying in bed, and here comes our 7-year-old.
10 o'clock, 10:30 at night.
Yeah, late at night.
Really late. She should have been asleep already.
And she is completely worked up again.
Hysterical.
This time, because she didn't get her homework done, and at school tomorrow, if she doesn't turn in her homework, her teacher's going to take away her recess.
Yeah.
We tried. You will get up early enough. We'll have time to do it in the morning. Their homework is like one page front and back.
Takes
and
her
it's
5 minutes to do it.
It's so easy. And nope, that wouldn't do it.
But what if we don't? We're not gonna.
Yeah.
All the crying.
She could not.
Poor thing.
Like, she was fixated.
She couldn't shut it off. Finally, I had to say, what if we do your homework now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We'll get back up. We were laying in bed.
Well, and not only laying in bed, we're laying in bed upstairs in our room. And guess where her homework is?
Yeah.
Downstairs. So I was like, sweetheart, do you want to go get your homework and bring it up here?
Yeah.
So she went and she got her homework. And she did her homework. It took her 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was done and done.
It was done. And then she was fine after that. And she went to bed. But my whole thing is, she knew if I don't turn it in, I'm not going to get recess. Teachers, and I said to her, you know what? All I have to do, I tried all the different approaches. I'm like, I can talk to your teacher. I'm going to be at the school tomorrow. I will make sure that she understands. We had a really, really rough evening. I was already going to talk to her anyway because of the first incident. It'll be fine. Even if we don't have time, we'll try to have time in the morning. We'll try to get it done. And I'm sure we will. Because it's like, what is it? It's one side of the paper is math. One side is spelling. And then she has to read this 3-page little snippet of a story thing.
Right.
So it doesn't take long at all. But she just wouldn't. So we did it. She went to bed. No big deal. But I have a problem with my 7-year-old being
carrying around that
so
kind of
worked
anxiety.
up and having anxiety about recess. As teachers are using recess as a bargaining chip.
Oh, that happened when I was a kid?
To get these kids to do, but here's the thing that pisses me off about it. Sorry, I'm pointing my finger at Sarah. She's like, whoa. laws have been passed. Recess is part of your physical well-being, mental, whatever. Like,
I'm going to have to look.
In Florida, there were laws about recess. The kids had to be getting recess up until whatever grade.
Right.
And if they didn't get recess outside, they had to do some type of recess labeled activity inside if weather didn't permit.
Right.
There were teachers that would get in trouble for not taking their kids to recess. I remember one time making a comment about our son, saying that they didn't have recess in that grade at all. And somebody was like, "Are you sure? I'm going to look into that because that doesn't sound right. They're supposed to do that. Like, we fought for that." So I don't know how it is in Colorado,
right?
But where we come from, recess you can't take recess away no matter what the kid does, unless like they're sent to the principal's office. But so to hold recess over a kid's head because they didn't do homework at home that they shouldn't be having to do at home anyway.
I remember one year, I want to say this was 4th grade because I can remember the teacher, and she really grew up to be a Trumplicant. Holy shit. She made me and another kid stay inside and work on my handwriting because my penmanship was just so bad that Mike Swartz and I had to sit inside during fucking recess and write together.
Yeah. Well, that's about as bad
Get
as
the fuck out of here.
One of the 2nd grade teachers. It was 2nd grade when our son was in 2nd grade. His 2nd grade teacher crumpled up a piece of paper, and I think it was his or one of his friends because he was very upset about it.
This is starting to sound familiar, but
and said, "This kind of homework this is what they'll do to your assignment if you write like this in 3rd grade." Crumpled it up and threw it away and made him do it again. Like, what?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I was a teacher that I obviously didn't like for other reasons,
Right.
but holy crap. Like, why are we doing this to these kids? They're 7 years old.
Mm-hmm. Well,
stop traumatizing them.
I don't know that this is the case. I suspect that this is a veteran teacher. She's been teaching for, she told us, however many years. Right. And this is how we've always done it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, well, let me tell you.
Yes. Tell me.
So the next morning, I go to the school and I have a little conversation with her drop off. And I said, she's not feeling well today. She's not getting a lot of sleep. She had 2 panic attacks yesterday. One because of this fundraiser, and that this conversation really pissed me off because I said, one, because of this fundraiser that's going on, because I guess they're getting told that the class who raises the most money is getting a pizza or a popcorn party or something. She nitpicked what I said and said, "Oh no, that's not the fundraiser. That's the parent survey that gets the popcorn party." And I'm like, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
She's at home having anxiety attacks that made it impossible for her to finish her schoolwork. And then once I get her to bed, she up in the middle of the night again, having anxiety attacks because you're going to take a recess away because she didn't do her homework.
Right.
Oh, but all you had to tell her was that you'd talk to me and I did.
Oh, we tried that.
I tried that.
We did tell her
I tried that. And then she said no, because she knows that you're the teacher and you're the one that makes the rules in your classroom. Right. And no matter what mommy says, it's going to come down to what the teacher says in the classroom.
And she's seen other kids be denied recess for various
Every
things.
day she comes home and gives me the recess report.
The recess report. I like that. I love it.
Oh my gosh. So-and-so had to sit out. She owed the teacher recess because whatever. And like, she knows who missed recess. She knows why they got their recess taken away. Like, so it's not like this is something that doesn't happen. And it's just the boogeyman under the bed, right? This is something she sees happen to other kids on a daily basis.
Right. And here's.
And yeah.
Where did that come from in the first place?
Right.
You said in class to these kids, every morning we're going to open up this folder and check your homework. Yeah. And if you don't have it, you lose recess later.
And here's the thing. Here's a novel idea. You grade these kids. You give them grades for their work. How about instead of punishing them with taking away activity that is vital to their enrichment, you just give them a grade for their homework. And if it's missing, it's a 0. And if their grades are falling, then they have to deal with it in a different way.
Right.
And maybe that's a talk with mom or whatever, but you don't take a kid's recess away. Like that's cruelty.
And so I launched my TikTok career over this whole fucking situation. And I heard from a bunch of my my teacher friends.
Uh-huh.
And they are all to everyone.
Yeah.
That's a terrible policy.
Yeah.
You don't do that.
Like, I feel like this teacher is a good teacher. And I think that's where I'm struggling. She's a really good teacher.
With the teachering part.
With the teaching part. But I felt like, because I was working at the school. So we had that conversation in the morning.
Right.
And then I was working at the school because I'm helping prep for this Halloween party. And I was outside of her classroom prepping one of the little trick-or-treat stops. And she was walking back. She took the kids to computer lab or something and dropped them off and came back to the classroom. And so she stopped because she didn't have the kids with her. So she just, I want to check in with you. I talked to your daughter today and I let her know that if there's ever any issues with homework and blah, 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 all she needs to do is, let you know that you need to let me know. And I reminded her that I see you every morning. And if there's ever anything that comes up, that all you need to do is talk to me and it'll be fine. And I'm like, I do appreciate that. And then she goes on to continue to speak. And this is what I had a problem with. I think this is really just because this is her first year in real school.
Oh, really?
And she just doesn't understand what's going on.
Okay.
So there are some things that our daughter went through when school first started because she was behind in like the ways a classroom works.
Right.
She started kindergarten online.
Right.
She did first grade online. So she's not been in a classroom setting. So she didn't understand that when they're doing spelling words and the teacher's writing the words on the board, she can copy them off of the board.
Right.
So there were a few moments where teacher had to come over and what's going on and explain to her, oh no, the words are right there. Just copy them down.
Right.
Little things like that. But I'm sorry, my kid is completely aware and smart enough to understand the concept of you're going to do this thing. And if you do this thing, you're going to get this reward.
Right.
And if you don't do this thing, you're going to get this taken away.
Yes.
She knows that concept. That has nothing to do with whether or not she's been in a brick and mortar school or not.
Right.
Oh my God. I was livid. I almost tore that tree right off of the wall. Anyway. We were doing a paper tree on the wall for this teacher. Yes, absolutely. There are certain things as far as classroom functions,
right,
that she's still learning, and but overall she has great days. And that's the other thing. She'll tell me, she's like, yeah, sometimes I can tell in certain situations, but you can't just use that as the excuse for every little thing.
Right.
She's not having anxiety attack over this because she's never experienced it before. She experiences reward and punishment regularly.
Right. Yeah.
She understands those concepts. This is not new.
Right.
And she doesn't have anxiety that I'm going to take her toys away if she doesn't clean her room. She just goes and cleans her room because I give her rewards and punishments that are well within her control. You've given her rewards and punishments outside of her control.
I hadn't thought of it in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway,
plushies. We'll wrap up on plushies.
Is that all? Did we cover everything?
Yep.
I feel like there was so much more to talk about.
Nope.
All right. So Sarah, tell us why you've hated plushies for the last decade and a half.
So my first marriage.
I knew it was going to come to that.
I don't know why. I don't know. I mean, I know why. It's societal bullshit. But like, I used to have an opinion of like, was it something in a TV show we were watching? Where did this whole thing come up? Something about it. If you go back to her house and we were watching Big Bang Theory and what's her name? All the plushies. Yep. That's what it was.
I don't even remember what you're talking about.
That's really, you must have been high that night. There was an episode anyway. So that got us.
Who has plushies?
What's her name on the show?
What's her name? There's like three. What's
the
her
one
name?
that lives across the hall.
Penny.
Penny. Yeah.
She has
Penny.
plushies?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
There was an episode. They got all sweaty.
I don't. I'm
Having
going
sex
to go
next
back
to
and
plush.
watch this. Oh my God. Okay.
Anyway, I'm
sure you
almost
weren't dreaming?
positive it was her.
Okay.
Anyway, that got us on the. That's what launched this whole conversation.
See, I remember a different conversation
tell
in a
me.
family chat.
Yeah, there was that too.
Okay.
No, this was the kickoff to this conversation.
I really don't remember that episode.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, go on.
So I used to have the belief that like, oh, you go out on a date, you go back to her house, and if her bedroom is like 13-year-old pink covered in like plushies all over everything, run.
And instead of running, you did what?
I married one.
So did you develop that belief
Did I-
before or after you married
Did
that
I
one?
learn my lesson? Yes. No. I think I had that belief before.
Really?
Yeah.
See, because that's interesting to me. Like,
But when your brains and hormones are doing the things and you're
yeah,
like,
but you weren't like crazy hormonal when you married her.
no,
Well, then,
no, but like when you're in that like
I
new
guess.
relationship
I
phase
guess.
or whatever, and like
I don't know.
you overlook a lot of red flags is all I'm saying.
Okay,
Right?
I guess.
Don't you think? You're like, oh, I'm in love. He's a whatever, but
Yeah, I've thrown
Yeah.
plenty of red
All
flags
right.
out the window.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. So,
Not with you, of course.
oh, sure. Of course not. Name my top 3 red flags.
Plushies, dolphins.
No. I'd gotten rid of those.
Oh, what? No.
So, no, I hadn't. You're right. I hadn't yet gotten rid of those. So anyway,
God. Bibles.
Jesus
That's the third
Christ.
one.
yeah. I guess I still had a couple of those, didn't
Yeah.
I?
Oh, you meant for you. For me. My red flags for you?
What? No.
I'm so confused.
No, you said what I wanted you to say.
Okay.
So, where the fuck were we?
So plushies.
Oh, right. So I used to have this opinion, and I've talked about this in context of my Star Trek toys. Really? The whole... We lost her.
I hadn't even put those dots together yet. Did you still have all your Star Trek toys when you married your first wife?
I think I did. They were in boxes. They weren't displayed on the wall.
Okay, well.
But
Oh man, my chest
the
hurts.
connection, I wasn't even that. I wasn't even thinking the collection connection. I was thinking the connection of this belief that like when you grow up, you must cast off the childish things, right? Like, okay, well, I'm not going to have plushies anymore. I'm grown up. That idea came from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, if that was just a cultural lesson or something more specific. I don't know.
I always thought the plushie thing was a trauma response for you.
It is now. Now I'm fine. You can have all the plushies you want, but it'll trigger me.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I definitely think I feel differently about that now of like, and I don't know what changed that. I don't know.
I should see if my mom has the picture of my bedroom, my childhood bedroom with all of my plushies. My dad built a bookcase into the wall
To put all of
just
them
to
on.
put all of my plushies on because I had so many. Well, my uncle would go and get the claw machine at the bar every weekend. And
Right.
every time he saw me, he had like arms full of stuff.
Right.
I had it was my favorite one of the big ones. I had a bunch. I had a huge Snoopy. It was like this tall.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Oh, it was my favorite.
That's so cool.
And I don't even know what happened to it. I had a Snoopy and there was another big one. I can't remember what
I feel like we've had this conversation on air before.
I don't know. The Snoopy and the Kermit the Frog were my two favorite stuffies. The Kermit was like this, big Kermit. If you ever want to get me a Kermit doll, feel some kind of trauma about that because I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared.
Mm-hmm. That's sad.
My mom probably got rid of it because it had dust on it or something.
Well,
you laugh.
You worked at Disney where you could have just gotten a Kermit.
I didn't have money to spend on a Kermit when I worked at Disney because Disney doesn't pay
That's true.
anything. I have Disney money. I can order it online.
Disney dollars. Oh, well, that's a great idea.
Oh,
Should I write it down so that when we're sober, we remember?
No, I'll just open the cart and put it in there and leave it open.
Well, that's dangerous. What else might you put in there while you're high?
I mean, I only have $30. It's not like I can.
That's fair. That doesn't go very far at Disney. It's like one Mickey bar.
I was going to say it'll pay for one of Kermit's eyeballs. Oh, crap.
All right. Well, that's it, huh? Did we do the show?
I think we did the show.
Eventually, I'd like to get back to talking about more seriouser things in life. I mean, this is serious stuff. I guess we're parents dealing with parenting things, but
I want to poll the audience, and I know there's only 3 of you, but I have a serious problem with this profanity at school thing.
Okay.
Because I'm of the opinion that I think it's worse to call someone's character into question by calling them a bigot than it is for that person to call you a bitch in defense of themselves. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So is bitch really a bad word anymore? I mean, they say it on TV, say it on the radio. Is bitch really a bad word? Also, on that note, I forgot what I was going to say.
Can you think of any bitch adjacent words that are either allowed or not allowed? Can you think of what are some other bad words?
Dick.
Unquote,
I'm sure you can say dick
at the same time. Eat a dick. Can I say eat a dick?
Probably can say eat a dick.
You're a dick.
You're a dick.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I mean,
what can you call a kid before you get in trouble?
Where's that
line? So
if bitch is a female dog, what's the word for a male cat? A dick. Anyway, so that's that. But I mean, I had a teacher friend of ours who we told the story to said that kid he should have called that kid a little bitch just for tattling.
Uh-huh.
And it was so funny because that's how I feel okay, so the tattling in itself wasn't actually what happened. There was a whole group of kids and they all went, ooh,
right.
You just called him a bitch. And I told our son, I said, I'm not mad at you for defending yourself, but we have had this conversation.
Yeah.
You can use whatever language you want until it comes to the point where you're attacking somebody. I don't care what they do to you. I don't care what they say to you.
Yep.
You do not use words to attack people. The end. Instead of doing what you did, if it happens again, you need to get with an adult or say, hey, you know what? You're not worth the detention. Yeah. And walk away. There's a better way to handle things. So yes, I don't appreciate that this kid called my kid a name, but also there was a discussion with our son. That's not the appropriate response. And I understand being angry because here's the hard part about it all. If I had been in a room and some little kid called my son a bigot, I would have called that kid a whole lot worse than a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing full well that my rule is we don't attack people with words. So if that makes me a hypocrite, it makes me a hypocrite, but I'm a mama bear, so you can just fuck off.
And with that, let's just fuck off. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Sarah Talk is made possible by listener support. Visit patreon.com/SarahTalk to become a patron and help keep this program going. Contact Sarah and Company by email at producer@sarahtalk.com or call 224-40-SARAH. That's 224-407-2724. And follow us on social media, facebook.com/SarahTalkRadio and on Twitter @SarahTalkRadio. The opinions and information provided on this show are intended for entertainment purposes only. All opinions are solely that of the hosts and their guests. We make no representations as to accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or validity of any information and will not be liable for any errors or damages. SarahTalk is a production of Sarah Austin Media.
The dog's in here. She got some.
Passed out asleep.
Oh, thing.
I thought I heard her squeaking at the door, but maybe she's dreaming.
Oh, puppy dreams.
Yeah.